In this video, I want to talk to you a little bit about another very common phone call that I get, and I get that from parents of middle school students and sometimes early high school. And these are kids who are very bright, and the phone call is very typical. The parents will share with me how smart their son or daughter is, and then they will tell me that it was around the time that they started middle school or high school. And a lot of times it's the smart child who has skated through elementary school. And they might have an undiagnosed learning disability. They might have undiagnosed ADD or ADHD. They might have depression or anxiety. But a lot of those symptoms and a lot of those diagnoses can kind of coalesce around the time a child makes their way to middle school. And one of the reasons for that is because when kids get to middle school, they might have made it through elementary school without doing a lot of homework, without spending a lot of time doing writing and reading. They were just really smart kids, and they were nice, and they had good personalities, and so their teachers really liked that, and so they might have done really well in elementary school. But then they get to middle school, and the middle school experience is more difficult. The schoolwork gets more challenging, the reading becomes more dense, more is expected of students in terms of writing, not just short sentences or paragraphs, but longer essays. The math gets more dense, there's more multi-step problems, word problems, visual spatial problems, and so a lot of those students start to struggle with these areas. And what that could signal for parents is that the child might have an undiagnosed learning disability, they might have some social anxiety, there might be some depression, there might be some attention deficit going on there. And one of the worst things about putting a smartphone in your child's hand when they're in middle school is that if your child has any of these emerging issues, this is one of the worst things that can impact and can adversely impact their functioning going forward. Because if you have a child with attentional problems, as the work is getting more difficult, to have a device in their hand that they can turn on 24 hours a day is just an additional challenge. It's going to weigh them down. It's going to make it harder for them now to focus on the work that they need to focus on. If they're depressed or if they have social anxiety, they're going to rely on these devices rather than push themselves into different experiences where they can overcome their anxiety and become motivated and work on those issues. They have a screen that their parents have put in their hand, and if parents are not properly monitoring it, this can become the way that they cope with their stress, with their depression, and with their anxiety. So parents, if you have a middle school student, it sounds a little bit like the student I'm talking about, please be super vigilant if you're putting a smartphone in their hand. Be aware of how much time they're spending on it. Be aware of how it might be negatively impacting their social life, their academic life, their home life. One of the things that I have noticed as a therapist is that when parents can get to these problems early in middle school and early high school, if everyone in the family can work on these problems, be in family therapy, individual therapy, find ways to use these strategies that I talk about in this channel, then your child will be more able to make their way through high school successfully, and they're more likely to be successful in college. But how do you manage screen time for your child when they're so addicted to these devices? Learn my practical tips on that by watching this video next. Thanks for subscribing, stay tech strong, and I'll see you in the next video.